Real estate's always been more of a vehicle for me to have freedom, right? It's been a vehicle to step out of the business. I start to ask myself, what is extremely important to me? All of this, all the real estate, all the money is really just a vehicle so that I can spend my resources, energy, and time and those really important things to me. I was chasing the world, I was chasing money, and I caught a lot of it. And I realized that it didn't totally fulfill me. I am the man. No one else can do it as good as me. And I think that's a lie. That's a lie that we tell to ourselves. There are people that can do it as good as you, if not probably better than you. And when you realize that, you're like, you know what? Maybe I just need to step out, let them do their thing, just not get in the way. And that's just where I'm at. So I'm kind of sitting in the owner's box. I don't call the plays on the field. Someone else is coaching, someone else is running the plays, running the team, and I am just cheering for him.
Good day, everyone. This is Dr. David Phelps of the Freedom Founders Mastermind community and the Dentist Freedom Blueprint podcast. Today, as I usually do, I have a non-dentist with me today, but that's a good thing because we're going to learn things non-clinical. That's what we're about here on the Freedom Founders Dentist Freedom Blueprint podcast. Today with me, really a great friend, someone who I've really come to admire and respect a great deal is Mr. Brett Snodgrass. Brett, thank you for being here.
I am honored to be here, David. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a little bit, man. We've been trying to schedule this now for months, and here we are. So
here we are finally. Yeah, no, I was going to miss the opportunity, and our listeners will understand my purpose for having you here in just a few moments. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag yet. In fact, I told you earlier that you don't even know what I'm going to ask you today, so you just have to be prepared to roll with what I come with. But you're authentic, so I know it's easy for you. Let me give a little bit of background. Brett, I'm not going to read it verbatim because I know you. I know you as a friend. I know you as a colleague. Not just a colleague in real estate, but I think a colleague as a brother, follower of Christ. And you live your life so much there that I think everybody needs to have role models in life. Jesus Christ being our primary role model, but we also have to be accountable with each other, brothers in Christ. And you do a great job of that. You have your own podcast. It's actually called the Brett Snodgrass Podcast. So you can not hard time finding that. If people want to follow up with Brett, I'm going to lead with that. You can go and hear more from Brett on his podcast that he puts out a really great job. But Brett and I, we met through a mutual mastermind group. It's called the Collective Genius. We know each other for a good handful of years. And I'm going to say one thing about being a part of network relationships, and Brett, I know you would say the same thing, is that so much in life, entrepreneurs, we're driven to create, build. We want to build securities for our families. We don't want to be like the majority and just go into a career per se, but we're always about trying to find freedom and peace of mind and do it our own way. That's kind of who we are, right? But that's can be very much of a solo operation because it's hard to find other people, in our own community or even friends we went to school with. They're all great people, right? We're all friends, but most people want to go kind of down a track that this more security based and more stable and more looked at by society as, yeah, that's a good career to be in, right? And we kind of said, no, we don't want to do that. We want to do something different. But it's a solo job out there. You can be very much in a place where you don't feel like you have a tribe and people you can really relate to you very well. And I think in a mastermind group that's of like-minded people, and that's a key. And it's got to be facilitated by somebody who also holds values and integrity and is doing it for the right purpose. But you put those together, I know with you and with others, I have found some of my best friends, and I mean real friends, not just business colleagues, that's part of it, but best friends in a tribe like Collective Genius. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely, David. I mean, I joined Collective Genius about 5 years ago. I've been a part of other mastermind groups, and Collective Genius is top notch. Just Jason Medley, man of integrity, leads with his heart that way. I know your mastermind is the exact same way. All your listeners probably know that. And so like-minded individuals, it's hard to find. You can look around the corner in your local community, at your church, at your kids' basketball games or softball games or whatever, but it's really hard to find men and women to open up, to kind of have that same drive, that same hunger to kind of not live inside of the box, but to do something different, to do something special, to create, to build something out of nothing, right? I mean, this is what we do. So to find guys like that, it's just pretty awesome, and totally agree with you.
So your background, Brett, just so people know you a little bit better, You've been a real estate investor, and I say, when I say investor, a lot of my folks, think about investing as more of a passive thing, and you can be passive or you can be active, you can be both. When you're an investor, I know you do both. You invest for the long term, but you're also in the business of. I want to make clear that you're a person you've been in the business of for 15 plus years. Your company specializes in wholesaling, wholetailing. We don't have to get in the nuances of that. My tribe will probably be very much interested in the details of that. I will explain it to them. Creative financing, an area that I love, and I found in real estate, the opportunity for creative financing is just the multitudes of variances of solving problems with that ability. It's just fun. It's just a heck of a lot of fun to do that. I know you do that so well. And business scaling. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that today because I think that may be very relevant to our audience. Your team, your business called Simple Wholesaling, you buy and sell over 250 properties a year. And through that, you also build very large passive income streams. And our tribe is definitely about passive income streams, so we can relate to them about that way per year. And you do well over 50 creative financing deals per year, which again, just to give our audience a little bit of a flavor of what that means is Brett, you and I would say that there's a retail component to the finance real estate industry. Retail component means banks, institutions that typically finance transactions for people, whether you're buying and selling businesses or real estate or cars or whatever. There's a retail market for all of that. And that's what most people see. What people don't understand, that there's also a secondary market for putting together win-win solutions that don't necessarily have to involve directly the retail institutions. And that's what we're talking about here, where you actually solve problems with other means of financing. And that's a fun thing to do. You have a YouTube channel, the Brett Snodgrass channel on YouTube. And as I said, you have your podcast. You're the father of 4 children, husband to your beautiful wife, Karen. I know this is true about you. You enjoy spending time with your family. I know that's been a key focus for you in latter years. Reading, partnering with impactful ministries like Transforming Futures, something that we actually have done together in Guatemala. You also, as we said, enjoy participating in the mastermind group Collective Genius, other masterminds. And in Collective Genius, you actually are one of the leaders in the charity branch. And well, I want to talk a little bit about that today too, because that's where I think when we get to a point in life where we've, as entrepreneurs, been driven really hard to try to build some kind of financial fortress, the security for our family. I mean, that's who we are, right? We want to build these things. And yet at some point, and hopefully sooner than later, we realize that what are we building for, right? What are we really building for? What does all this really mean? If I have X amount of dollars in the bank, or I have investments here, there, or otherwise, or I have real estate and it's creating passive income streams, wow, that sounds wonderful, but what's it really for? And I'm just going to throw that to you, Brett, because I know you've got great answers. What is it really for where you are in your life right now? What does it mean for you?
No, that's a deep question. I've been probably thinking about that for the past 20 months when I did kind of step more out of the real estate business. But for me, I mean, real estate's this has just always been a vehicle. Number one, for my family. I mean, I want to pay the bills. I want to take care of my family, but do I personally care about, living in a huge mansion on the beach and having a few vacation homes and a jet and stuff like that? That's just not me. Real estate's always been more of a vehicle for me to have freedom, right? It's been a vehicle to step out of the business and be able to look at the things that I find extremely important in my life. And when I look down at my life with that 1,000-foot view, I start to ask myself, what is extremely important to me? And I want to spend my time there. I want to spend my resources there. I want to spend my energy there. And for those things, for me, number one, it's my family. I want to spend time with them, but it doesn't stop there. I want to spend time helping other people, helping other men like myself with some entrepreneur things. I love teaching, and that's why I do the podcast, and that's why I do some of our meetups and things like that. I love missions. I love getting outside of my own world. We live in America, and to get outside in a developing country and to take your kids with you and to be able to do that and experience that and to help a child have a meal for a day because they can't eat. I mean, that's just to experience things like that and to be able to have an impact in that way. Those are the things that are really, really important to me. You mentioned faith, ministry, to be able to spread the gospel in a way in our world. I try to do that with God's talents that He given me. Those are the things that are really important to me. So all of this, all the real estate, all the money, all of that is really just a vehicle so that I can spend my resources, energy, and time in those really important things to me.
Yeah, beautiful. See, that'd be my same answer. It's a vehicle, and choose a vehicle. We just happen to love real estate. It's works really well to provide that opportunity. Let me ask you this, Brett. Have you always thought this way? And in other words, going back when you were younger, did you same thing when you were just getting started in life and maybe starting a family? And were you always focused as much as you are today about impact, giving, service, time with family? Just curious, or was there a turning point where you actually, you know what I've been doing is just not serving? I think we all go through some kind of turning point. What was yours?
Yeah. So yes, no, I have not always been this way. I mean, then in my 20s, I was just like any 20-year-old. I actually wasn't a man of faith in my 20s. I gave my life to Christ when I was 30 years old. So I was chasing the world. I was chasing money. I was chasing all of that stuff that I felt like would do it for me, that could fulfill me. And I caught a lot of it. Maybe I didn't catch it all, but I caught a lot of it. And I realized that it didn't totally fulfill me. Now I'm happy that I chased some of those things, that I went after success. I mean, obviously I'm at a place now where I have more options than I did. So I'm glad that I went this entrepreneurial route. I took a lot of risks and I was hungry and I worked a lot, but I had to sacrifice a lot too. The turning point for me probably was, it started to be around 2017, I guess. We were having one of the most successful years that I had ever had. We were doing about 350 deals that year. And I was kind of doing everything. I mean, I had a small team, but I was a CEO, COO, running everything. And I just felt myself just really exhausted, really tired. I had to check myself into a doctor's office and get an EKG and have my heart checked out because I was like, something's going on here and I don't know what it is, but I don't know if I should feel this way or be this way or check my health, right? That's when it kind of started. And then it just kind of lingered on. And I had, in 2018, I mentioned this at Collective Genius, I have a daughter from a previous relationship, and her mom wanted to move away from where we were living at that time. And it was 2 hours away. So I had my business, my team, my life, my friends, my church, everything in Indianapolis, Indiana. And then she wanted to take our daughter and move 2 hours away. So at that point, I had to make a decision. I said, hey, am I going to move with them and have half custody of my daughter? Or am I going to stay, run my business, do my thing? And I made a decision to move. Again, I looked at my life way up here and I said, what am I going to regret? Am I going to regret not going and spending time with my daughter? What is she going to think when she's 21 years old and look back and her dad didn't come when she was 12, right? So I went, we moved, and that was really a big starting point for me to get out of the business. And then it just kind of, spiraled from there. To me, I hired a COO. He started managing everything. And then 20 months ago, right before COVID hit, I was taking a shower and the pandemic was coming. The shutdowns were happening. And I was like, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen to the business. We're all freaking out. Are we going to go under? What's going to happen? And then almost a relief came over me. And I was like, you know what? If we maybe didn't go under, but if we downsized, if we had to go from a 10-person team to a 5-person team or 4-person team, and we did less deals and less money and less overhead and less work, I was like, I would definitely be okay with that. And that's when it hit me. And I said, maybe I should be doing something different. And then that was this process. Is I talked to our COO and I gave him a nice package. And I said, you know what, do you want to just run this thing? I'll step out into the owner's box you run everything and I'll be your biggest fan and biggest supporter, and you make all the decisions. And that was 20 months ago. So here we are. And we've had the best year ever in 2021. And it's been pretty awesome. But that's kind of the process that happened.
Sometimes we feel, as you've indicated, and I certainly have felt, and most of us who have run an entrepreneurial life, that we have to do it all, that we have to wear all these hats. We have to spin all these plates. I mean, we're typically the visionaries, but we also try to be the operators as well. And that usually doesn't mix very well. And it's for you to actually be authentic and reveal to us, which is, you said you did to us at Collective Genius, that stepping aside, going to the owner's box, which means you got out of the way. And so you could say, even though you're an amazing visionary, maybe the operational aspects, you were actually holding things up. Is that fair?
I think so. I think that the owner, honestly, can be the bottleneck. I mentioned this in a presentation I did at Collective Genius. And sometimes our ego gets in the way and we think, you know what? I raised this baby up from ground level. I am the man. No one else can do it as good as me. And I think that's a lie. That's a lie that we tell to ourselves. There are people that can do it as good as you, if not probably better than you. And when you realize that you put the right people on your team and you see them start to do it better than you, you're like, you know what? Maybe I just need to step out, let them do their thing, and just not get in the way. A lot can happen with that. Decisions start to happen faster. It can be scary. It's risky because their vision starts to take over a little bit. But it was just time for me to do that. Time for me to start to let go, which is the hardest part. I mentioned that the hardest part in all of this is letting go, right? You got this little baby, you got this child that you've raised up, and then it's hard to really let them go. But once you do let them go and they start to run, they start to fly, and then 6 months goes by, 8 months goes by, 12 months goes by, and you have your best year or a really great year without you, you're like, wow, that's pretty cool. Sometimes some people can't handle it because they're like, well, what about me?
Right.
I'm the man, right? But if you can humble yourself enough to be like, this is what I wanted, and this is awesome. I'm your biggest fan. I support you guys, and I'll be here with anything that you want. And that's just where I'm at. So I'm kind of sitting in the owner's box. I don't call the plays on the field. Someone else is coaching. Someone else is running the plays, running the team. And I am just cheering for him. So
I think you even mentioned that when occasionally you might enter back into with the team, that some people would say, who's this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who are you? I mean, what are you doing here? Right. And
yeah.
like, well, actually,
and that's the thing. And so we had a company picnic. So we were inviting all of our team members to the picnic, and I got invited to the picnic. I own the company, so I got invited. My family got invited. So I go to this picnic, and one of our new employees, I've only been with us for a couple months. They said, "So, like, what do you do?"
Yeah.
And it really caught me off guard. I was like, "Well, I didn't know what to say." I said, "I do real estate. I didn't say I even own the company. I just said, I flip houses." But then someone else interrupted and they said he owns the company. And, but again, like, someone might really take offense to that, honestly. And they might say, you know what? I own the company. Who do you think that you are?
Yeah.
But I was like, this is what I chose. This is what I signed up for. So like when people say, man, I wish I wouldn't have been the face of the company. I wish I would have been in the background. Like, that's where I'm at right now. Like, people have forgotten about me almost. They don't really know who I am. They don't call me. My phone doesn't ring. That's just my life. And that's just what I've chose. So
if you enjoyed watching or learning from this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more content. If you have a question about any of my content or this specific video, just please leave a comment down below. And as always, stay focused on your freedom. I'll see you next time.